All right, we are live. Welcome to Cleveland Business Live, episode 40. I'm Lisa Cole with the Michael Kame team in Berkshire Hathaway. If you want to talk anything real estate related, just go to lisacole.work, and I'm happy to help in any way I can. Today, I'm super pumped to have LaRese Purnell on with me today. LaRese does a trillion, a zillion things, but we're just going to talk about a few. Yes. Managing partner of the CLE Consulting Firm, which is a finance firm, and owner of Black Box Fix, which is a Creole Cajun restaurant, author. You're on like 6 different boards. You do like a million things. So we're going to attempt to dive into this today. Thank you so much for being on.
No, Lisa, thank you. I'm excited about having this conversation. Just in our pre-conversation, you really pulled me in, and I'm ready to get it done. So I appreciate you for having me today. So for sure.
Awesome. You have the best energy. It came through. So basically what happened was I picked up the Cleveland magazine like a couple weeks ago, and I was reading through the most interesting people. I'm like, I want to talk to some interesting people. And your story just like, it struck me. I mean, you just have an incredible story. We're the same age. I mean, just all that you have accomplished so far, and the spirit that you do it in, I think is the most like impressive thing, that you do it in the spirit of service, which was instilled in you at a very young age. So I would love for you to just share your story, what, how you got to where you are, and then we could dive into like your current businesses and all that good stuff.
Yeah, native of Cleveland, true ambassador of our city. I love our city. When I leave here, and I go on travel, I tell people I don't get on a plane or whatever means of transportation without wearing something that says Cleveland, because one, it always ignites a conversation. It used to be we were the mistake on a lake, or we were the joke across the country, until we won the championship, and the conversation shifted. But with that being said, you got to put some respect on it, like they say. But native of Cleveland, grew up throughout this community, lived in different neighborhoods, grew up and went to different schools, but graduated from Warrensville. And I would say, then I went away to college, of course, to the University of Toledo and Bowling Green State University, received a master's in finance. And service, to me, it was embedded in me. Like some kids, I always say that before they say daddy, they say McDonald's. That's how ingrained it was put into me that, we must give back to those that are in need and less fortunate. But what really, I guess, kept that ingrained in me was, it's one thing to say that when you're doing well and you can afford your bills, or you can afford to live where you live. But it was ingrained in me when I thought, well, we're hungry. Well, we're homeless. Well, where are we going to stay tonight? And that's where I give my mother all the credit. Beyond God, I give her the credit here on earth for just embedding that in us, even when we were without, in a lot of cases, to give back. Even to this day, I was telling someone I mentored this morning, I said, it's amazing. We go, even to this day, she doesn't have a lot. I take her to Heineken. She wants to, tip the cashier. She wants to tip the guy bagging the groceries. She wants to tip everybody. And knowing her budget, it just always still blows me away that she's so selfless, that we would get on the bus growing up and ride to homeless shelters, from a homeless shelter, to go feed others. And when I say that stuck with me, and I made a commitment to her and God that if you give me what I need to be successful, I will never forget. And Lisa, what's amazing about that is, it's funny how God works. I always say he has a sense of humor. I'm looking out the window of my office on Lakeside right as we speak. There's a line down the freeway for the Cleveland Food Bank, and it has been there every Thursday since the beginning of this pandemic. So it always is a reminder to me that, one, I'm blessed that I can pick where I want to eat tonight. 2, that there's a lot of people in this community that are in need. And if we don't step up and just do our part, your part doesn't have to be a big part, but your small part, if we have a lot of people doing their small part, that many more people will be impacted. So that's just a little about me and why I do what I do. So
wow, that is so impactful. Sorry, I keep messing with my volume here, but that was so impactful when I read that, that she would put you on a bus every week from your homeless shelter to help another. I was like, oh my gosh, I need to get out there and do something. Like what? I have no excuse, I mean, it's just amazing. And it informs everything that you do. And I think, and you see that in all the different organizations that you're in. So, I mean, you ended up going into the finance industry. So you've got the CLE Consulting Firm. So, and I know you're using that to help, educate people with financial literacy and all of that. So can you tell us more about your firm and just the services that you offer and all of that?
So we are an accounting, tax, and payroll and professional services firm. We're located right down on Lakeside and 9th inside of North Point. It's myself and my partner, Meltree Sharp, and we have 15 other full-time staff members that work with us. And we will be celebrating 4 years in just about 2 weeks. So we're a new firm, not new in experience, but new as far as just when we started. But started over in WKYC, then moved down the street. And we help small to mid-sized businesses. We do a lot of nonprofits, community development corporation, mental health organization, educational institutions. So very vast variety of clientele that we deal with. But I think one of the things that differentiates us from other organizations that we would consider our peers or our competition even, is that we build trust. We're people's trusted partners. We really build deep relationship. It's not transactional to us. It truly is mission. So it makes it so some of our advisors sometimes say, sometimes you guys confuse me. Are you a nonprofit or a for-profit? and I tell them, no, we pay the bill. We do send invoices out. So we are for-profit. but
you will get an invoice
yeah, they will get an invoice. But we will
be expecting a payment.
Yes, but we will do the work to educate. So we're big on education and really helping people to really understand their financial infrastructure and the importance of it. So I would say it is, for me, I do a lot of teaching outside of, CLE in the world of financial literacy. So I've traveled to probably 40 plus cities all across the nation. I've spoke at colleges, different financial institutions, JCPenney's, McDonald's Corporation, just a lot of major corporations have brought me in and just train their staff on the importance of, financial literacy. Because I tell people, if your people are at work and they're broke, they're not doing your work. Because their minds cannot transition from going home and not having the lights on to then worrying about what your focus would be for them. So again, the more that you infuse it into your business and make sure that your people are financially healthy, the more productivity, because now they can take their minds off themselves and put it onto your company. So again, I really encourage companies. Just this past week, Lisa, I had about 300 something women on Zoom on this Saturday, and I did
a lot of women.
Yeah, a lot of women. 21 financial tips for 2021. And we just really, embedded that into them and just really try to give them some good information. So
what would you say? I love that. What would you, because it's freedom. I've been there. I was a young mom and, we struggled paycheck to paycheck. So I know how it feels when you're just like, oh my gosh, how much do I have enough money to fill up my gas tank? Or like we used to count how much, we put food in the car. We had this much money. So we would like add it up as we go to make sure we go over.
That's right.
So, I know that the freedom that you have when you don't have to worry about that anymore. How do you get people from that point to that freedom point? Like, what are some of the top tips that you give them?
Transparency. I say people always ask me, well, how do you convince people to come on and talk to you and really resonate with what you're saying? Transparency, being real about what you've been through. One, I think that's why I don't mind telling my story. I was just like you, Lisa. When I was in college, I had my daughter and I literally had to sometimes look in the couch, for change, and we would add it up, make sure we could buy that Similac and those Pampers and all that. So wherever I could get, money from at that time, we had to scrape it together to make it happen. So like I tell people, I'm not new to this. I'm true to this. This is not something I'm teaching you that I haven't been through. I've had my highs and my lows. And I'll just say, until we change this, I don't care. I'll give you a pure example, Lisa. I do NFL players. I do professional athletes. I do celebrities in different industries. And I'll tell you, if you take someone from living in the projects of Washington, D.C. or Detroit or Miami, and then overnight they become an instant millionaire and they sign a $20-30 million, contract. It doesn't change their mindset. If they never receive the education, when we see statistics saying, 75 to 80% of NFL players end up bankrupt, it's because this was never educated and it did not, resonate with them, and they never changed their mindsets. So I tell, when I got on that call, there was doctors, lawyers, real estate professionals, bankers, and I tell them, hey, let's take the titles off the table and really talk about where our mindsets, because until we shift that, it doesn't matter what level you're at. It's like leaving and having life insurance. Lisa, if you leave your kid, we're proud. I'm gonna leave my kid $1 million life insurance. But if you don't educate them, you're throwing money in a black hole. Because now, even worse, you're not here to tell them what to do with it.
Right.
So education to me is a big thing, and really helping people to shift their mindset.
So what are some of the top things that you teach people to help shift their mindset?
It is one, knowing how much money you have, and let me back that up, knowing your net worth. Okay. Because if that doesn't really resonate with you, so I tell people, hey, print down a PFS and a personal financial statement. I say Google one, print it down, and do that activity. If you do that activity, it'll tell you how many assets you have. If you own your own home, if you own your car, not leasing and paying a note on it. Do you have checking account? Do you have investments? Do you have real estate? And then compare it to what you owe. If you owe money, then I want you to look at what you owe, and then it gives you your net worth. Then if you ask yourself, well, I want to retire and I need to have a couple million. If you're negative, something has to shift.
Right.
And then the thing I tell people, I'll never forget, I was in a stadium in DC, and I told everybody, hey, act like we had a concert, y'all. Throw your phones in the air, cut the light on, and everybody was going crazy. Then I said, pull your phone. So now I know there's 10,000 phones in here. I said, tell me what, and yell it out. What is Beyonce worth? I said, tell me, what is such and such, Justin, what is he worth? And I'm throwing these names out, and people are yelling out 100 billion, 100 million, or whatever the case may be, but they were hitting it right on the head because they've read the headlines. And then I stopped imagine how I could hear a pin drop. Then I said, okay, now that was a trick question. So you know what they're worth, but do you know what you're worth? The room got so quiet. I said, yell out now what your net worth is. And no one could answer that question. So then I asked, the next question is, raise your hand if you want to retire from whatever you do. And everybody raised their hand. So if you don't know your net worth, but you want to retire, how do you know how to get to there? Right. So what steps are you going to need? So again, I always start everything when I talk. I said, are we all family in this room? I don't care how big the room is, who's in there. I said, are we family? Because I'm going to get free so you can get free. But you got to be, if I'm honest, you got to be honest too. And,
right.
And then I make jokes and say, hey, lock those doors back in. Nobody gets out. We're all family. I said, I'm just joking. No, I'm just joking. Just in case a fire marshal is in here, I'm just joking. So,
right. Oh my gosh. No, I love that. I mean, the first thing is just reality check. Like, where are you in your life? Okay. You're right. A lot of people don't know. I actually couldn't tell you what my net worth is. So I'm gonna actually download that and figure it out. I'm gonna
ask you next time we talk. I'm gonna ask you.
I definitely want to retire.
That's right.
Want to retire. So
that's right.
So okay. And then what are some of the other top things that you shared with the ladies for top fit tips for this year?
I talked about importance of the power of 7. So even as an entrepreneur, we just talked about all the hats. If I could show an example, if I had 10 hats, the average entrepreneur, that is their reality. They're the HR person, they're the attorney, they're the accountant, they're the business development person, they're the salesperson, they're everything. So if you want to create a strong financial foundation for your life, if you're not an entrepreneur, just an average person, it's a power of 5 and a power of 7. But the power of 7 for entrepreneurs is your accountant, your attorney, your banker, your insurance broker, your financial advisor, your HR rep, and your marketing rep. If it's personal, just take the HR rep and the marketing person off. And those 5 people, if you want to experience success financially, you need to make sure that you employ them. Let the expert be the expert.
Yes.
You have a sore tooth. You tell me you're going to Google how to extract your own tooth, or are you going to hire
Can we
a
do
dentist?
a realtor, the right realtor?
But now, you know what? When I say that is real, what you just said, because the number one asset most people usually have is their home.
Yes.
I'm going to give you credit the first time, then it's mine. Then it's mine. So if you're somewhere and you hear me say it, I'm going to say, I might not mention your name after the first time.
I love it. It's true.
Okay.
I mean, if you're going about it yourself, who knows how it's going to look. So I just read that in a book I was reading today. It's just, professionals trust other professionals,
That's right.
Learn your lane, stay in your lane, and let them do what they do.
Absolutely.
I love it. I love it. Any other, what would be, oh my God, it's already 15 minutes. I try to keep it at 10. This is so interesting.
Wow. So I mean, it is, I'll just say again, employ those professionals, invest in yourself. If this pandemic didn't teach you anything, make sure that you're taking advantage of your 401k, maximize that, make sure that you're, decreasing your tax liability and increasing your after-tax wealth. So things like your 401k, Roth IRAs, traditional IRAs, invest in those, and life insurance. If you don't have assets right now, cash assets, investment assets, create wealth through insurance. And remember, with this pandemic, if it didn't teach us anything, it's so much uncertainty. We don't know where things may go. And you want to make sure that you have your family prepared for that. So
that's so true. Well, I am so happy that you came on today. I would love to have you back.
Yes, I would love to come back.
Okay, awesome. We could do like financial tips, like monthly financial tips or something like that. That would be so much fun. So thank you so much. And I put a link to your book.
Okay, thank you.
And the name of your book is
Financial Foundations.
Okay.
So remember, you can't build a foundation on toilet paper and expect it to withstand any heat, any pressure, any storm. So make sure you build a strong financial foundation.
The link to buy his book is in the comments in this post. And then also the link to the article if you want to read up more on LaRese. And thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. It was awesome. And everybody have an awesome rest of the week. And go download your personal financial statement and find out your net worth. Bye, guys.